I promise I'm rapping the O to the dead. Hey, oof, I told them out of my way. I don't got nothing to say. Now they can't run at my pace. Yeah, they know that we ain't the same. 402, we rap the game. I told them this ain't a game.
Yo, what's up? It's Finn's Take with CB83 coming to you for another banger of a show. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to the Finn's family. Man, what a week for Miami Dolphins fans so far. Just a crazy game on Sunday. And not necessarily like crazy in regards to plays that were made, just crazy in regards to some of what we saw during the game and what transpired, especially with the officiating. I think both teams played hard. I think prior to the game, if we knew coming in that we were going to have the guys sitting that we had sitting and we had guys get hurt. So there's a lot there to discuss. And I got some of the homies coming through to kind of discuss a little bit of what we're hearing in the Dolphins community. Are the Dolphins frauds? Are they a good football team? Are they a contender? Are they good enough to beat good football teams? I think these are all questions that will be answered, throughout the season. But man, it's just at this point, I think people are kind of questioning. Some people are for sure questioning whether the Dolphins are for real or not. Now, national recognition, that's something we're going to talk about too. Just a lot to discuss, a lot to kind of pull from and discuss there. So I really want to do this. Let's go ahead and get into it. Shout out to the homie Q for coming through and showing love. What's good, my boy? What's popping? Shout out to the homie Q. You know we going up. Let's go. Yes, sir. Shout out to the homie Q. Hey, also, guys, we're taking the members gang on the road. So the members gang will be moving over to Patreon. I did pin the link to the chat. That helps support the channel, man. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all the support so far. We got 7 in the room. Do me a favor, hit that like button for your boy. I see you. Tony, what's good with you? Tony Manzano in the building. He says, yo, CB, yo, Q, Dolphin State of Mind is here. What's good with you, Dolphin State of Mind? What's good? What's good? Q, we're gonna get into some film breakdown tomorrow for sure. So I'm definitely doing the film breakdown tomorrow. We're going to watch the offensive line early in the game, watch some of what we did better late in the game, and just kind of see how we can get better. That's gotta be done. We gotta watch it. So we're definitely gonna watch it. So shout out to the homie Raphael in the building. What's good with you, homie? YouTube thumb 7, Eagles DB number 24, hands to the face mask. Riz move on Cedric Wilson is why ref didn't throw the flag. Man, that's a tough one not to throw. And honestly, the referee was right there, right behind and looking dead at it. I don't see how he didn't catch it unless he was just totally like incompetent and totally, telling himself, hey, I'm not throwing a flag on this play, which is kind of weird because the dude was literally right behind it and didn't make the call. So crazy situation. I don't know, man. That officiating was very bad. When a team doesn't get a penalty in the game, you got to look at them and be like, what? Bro, what are you talking about? Come on, man.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Yeah, I was definitely a little bit confused by that. Definitely confused, man. So shout out to the homie Raph in the building, Q's in here, Tony, Dolphin State of Mind. Shout out to FMP, man. I appreciate you, bro. FMP is one of the people who always support on Twitter, always retweets, retweets, repost quotes, all that good stuff. It helps get it out there. It helps other people see it, man. I appreciate you, bro. He says, what's good, CB? Fins up. And hell no, the Fins are not frauds. People need to put some respect on our team. The defense is starting to show up, and that's something we definitely got to talk about too. I think the defense played a good game. They got some pressure, put Jalen Hurts into some tough situations, and that's what you got to do against good quarterbacks. You got to put them in some tough situations. So, we definitely going to discuss the defense and how they're slowly getting better. But I mean, that's what you want to see. You want to see a crescendo over the season. You don't want to see it up and down. You want to see the team get better each week, right? Go out there and fix something that they didn't do last week and just get better at it. And that's what I think we saw. The defense is slowly getting better. And if we keep at this pace, mid-season to late season, you should be playing at a high level defensively. And if the offense is doing what they're supposed to be doing, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. And I'm looking forward to it, man. But yeah, I got some of the homies coming through. I got them in the back right now. Let's go ahead and get this thing cranking, man. I was going to talk for a little bit, but I'm just really excited to get these guys on to have these conversations, because I see there's a lot of guys who are in Twitter spaces throughout the day who are in, on YouTube channels and stuff talking about the Miami Dolphins. But sometimes it's not always the best conversations. And we wanted to be kind of directed at how we could get better as a team. I mean, we can complain and we could complain about everything. There's a lot to complain about, right? But how do we fix it, right? It's got to be solution-based, right? That's what I call solution-based discussion. So hopefully what we'll do tonight is just kind of set some goals out for the Miami Dolphins and see like what we could do in order to get better, whether it's making a trade or whether it's just doing some things, switching up some things personnel-wise. I think the Miami Dolphins are kind of in a great situation going into the back half of the season. They're kind of focused on getting some guys healthy. So this will be a good opportunity to just have some more dialogue about the team and where we are, man. So I got the homie Lou in the building. Shout out to the homie Lou. What's good with you, my boy? How you feeling?
What's good, CB?
What's
What's
going on,
good?
man? How you feeling, man?
Man, just getting home from work about 30 minutes ago, so just getting settled in, but definitely appreciate the invite, man. I think what you just said, your last part of your opening monologue, I think is spot on. Sometimes these conversations on Twitter and even on YouTube, and you get a panel full of 10 heads and everybody's
Yeah.
just screaming over each other. Sometimes it just don't get productive. Like I'm with the foolishness as well. I like
Yeah.
doing
There's a
that
time and
from
a
time to
place.
time. Right. But
Yeah.
I think these kind of conversations that we're planning to have tonight are also needed. So I definitely appreciate the invite.
Yeah, and we mix it up a little bit. There'll be a little banter back and forth, but it's all in fun. It's all in, joking and having a good time. But shout out to the homie Doc Brown, Doc Reggie Brown in the building. What's good with you, Doc? How you feeling tonight, man?
It's all good, baby.
So
Everything good
What's
with
good,
you?
Doc?
What's up, Lou? You good, bro?
Always, bro. Chilling, chilling.
For sure.
yeah, man, and let's go ahead and get into it. I just wanted to get your thoughts, and I'll start with Lou on this, and then I'll go to you, Doc. I wanted to get your thoughts on the game, just like a quick, minute synopsis of what you thought about the football game, offensively, defensively, special teams. What's your thoughts on how we played, and are you a little upbeat about where we are, or are you feeling a little bit down in regards to where the Miami Dolphins are right now?
Nah, CB. I think for me, listen, I learned a lot more about our Miami Dolphins in a loss than any of the wins we had this season. Like I know my Dolphins are better than the Broncos, so 70 points, yeah, it's good,
Yeah,
but I don't want to say it's expected, but I expected a win. Like 42 unanswered points against Carolina, I expect that. We're better than that, right?
yeah,
And the showing that I believe the offense had, listen, it's not our fault that you know we got called on certain things that maybe stop momentum or stopped a certain drive here and there. I thought the offense performed well. I'm with you, CB. Listen, we've had private conversations. We had conversations on panels, Twitter,
yeah,
wherever. I've been hard on Vic Fangio. I think for me, when I seen from Philly, to your point, I think this thing, even though it might not be as fast as maybe we wanted, but no, I think this team is coming together, especially on the defensive side of the ball. You look where there's rumblings, Ramsey's could even
yeah,
possibly play this week. X not playing this week kind of hurt us a little bit. But
Yeah.
nah, CB, just to give you a quick answer, nah, I'm very encouraged moving forward with what the Dolphins, how they performed going into Philly against all the odds that we had to, from players missing, refs, and just everything in general. Nah, CB, to answer the question, nah, I'm excited about this team moving forward.
Nice, nice. I like it. I think you made some really good points there, Lou. Really good points, really valid points. And I'm sure Doc will follow up and kind of, echo that sentiment a little bit too. What's your thoughts on the game, Doc?
Well, I'm a little different in that I'm more down, this week. I wasn't even on Twitter yesterday because I feel like we should have won that game with everything that went on.
Yeah,
A play here, a play there, with all the adversity that we faced. You know, Up until late, it was 24-17, and we were right there in the game. And a catch by Tyreek. Tua doesn't make that. In my mind, that was just a poor bad throw um, there. But there were some things going on there. But to Lewis's point, that proves to me that we are ready for the big time. Because with all the adversity that we faced and we were still right there in the fourth quarter, says a lot about this football team. And moving forward, I think we're just going to continue to get better. It's funny, people talk about, when we get to the mid-season and,
hmm
we're one game from the mid-season. And right
yeah,
now is when you want to be peaking, and right now is when we're going to start getting players back. And right now is when, guys like Jalen and X will be back, and Connor and Taryn, and
yeah.
all of those things will start getting in place. So I was a little bit down yesterday just because with everything that went on, I thought we still should have won the football game.
And I mean, I agree like wholeheartedly in regards to winning the football game. I think there's a couple plays, and I said it before the game. There's a couple plays that are going to be opportunities to kind of win the game or lose the game. And that Tyreek Hill touchdown pass where
Yep.
it hit off his leg, that's really a difference maker in the game. I mean, that's a touchdown right there. If he catches that ball like he's supposed to, tucks it away, there's no way that guy's going one on one tackle Tyreek in the open field. So it just
Yeah.
wouldn't happen, right? So there's plays like that that really kind of like stick with me in regards to the game. Um, and then the penalties. I mean, the penalties were the penalties. It is what it is. I mean, the referees didn't make it easy on us, but it's tough. It's tough when you're playing a game, and not only are you fighting the injuries that you have, right? You got guys missing, right? You got guys injured, and then you're also fighting the referees too, and you're trying to play the game. I think, and you're fighting the Eagles. I think that's a tough situation to go into. But I
Well, I
think,
would say this.
oh, go ahead, go
I'm
ahead.
I'm a little bit old school.
Mm-hmm.
I come
Right.
from old school SWAT coach who said you could tell who lost because they're talking about the refs. And
Mm-hmm.
then secondly, that same coach said you beat everybody ass on the field, and that includes the referees. So, as much as it was a factor that you can't deny, we have a good enough team to be able to overcome that if
You
we
do.
just make one or two more football plays.
And that's it. And I think Mike McDaniel is a coach that will use every opportunity as like a
Cool.
learning lesson, right? So he's going to tell us guys, hey, these are when they go back to watch the film, hey, these are plays we should have made within the game that we at this point, if we would have made these plays, we take it out of the referee's hands, right?
Right?
Of course, I'm going to do my job and I'm going to, you know,
Right, of course.
protest what they did and say that the referees missed this and missed that. But there were plenty of opportunities within that 60 minutes of play for us to win the game, and we just didn't take it into our own hands and get it done. So I think that's
It was
part of it too.
egregious, man. It was egregious. The refereeing was absolutely horrible. But at the end of the day, we were still in
Hmm.
position to win the football game.
And I
and like
think that's a testament to how good this football team is, right?
facts.
With the referees, with having two of your best corners down, with having two of your best offensive linemen out, you still were able to go toe to toe with Philly, and 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 really have a shot at winning the game late, right? I mean, you still had opportunities. So I think it's a testament to how good this football team is. I think it's just going to be a matter of starting to put it together because now you're hitting midseason. You should be like trying to get in shape for making that run in the playoffs. And I think it takes guys kind of stepping up during this time period. November, December are important games. It's a very important stretch. You know, you're playing on the road sometimes. It's cold. It's bad weather. You got to figure out a way to win these games, and I think that's what it's going to come down to, man. But like with all that being said, there was a lot of
Mm.
talk in the media. Lou, you got something you want to say real quick?
Well, just to touch real quick, because
Okay.
respectfully, I disagree with Doc in the sense of you got to overcome. Yeah, the game was close, and I would tend to agree. If you see a game like that, perfect example, you can get over because remember, I think we lost the turnover battle in the Giant game, right? But
Mm-hmm.
we still were able to overcome because they were a less talented team.
Right.
So in those scenarios, you can overcome those. But against a team that's 5-1, against a team that represented the NFC in the Super Bowl last year in their house, yeah, you're not overcoming a 10-0 penalty, kind of difference. That's too much to overcome. That's the only thing I would disagree with Dot. Like, yeah, the game was close, but even on the two interception, and this is this narrative I was trying to kill because again, we know who the guys are. Well,
Oh yeah,
Tua
yeah.
left this short. Tua left this. Okay, that's fine. I'm not here to debate that. But the fact of the matter is you cannot impede Raheem Mostert coming back to the ball, right?
Right.
So when I see number 52 with his arms wrapped around Raheem and almost
Yep.
face guarding him, like, no, that's a penalty. You see what I'm saying? Like, to
I,
me, that's not overcoming. Tua put a ball up there that his receiver should have been able to have the opportunity to make a play on the ball. And when I look at it, if they call pass interference, right, that's first and go from the one.
Yeah.
Now that game is tied. That's
well,
overcoming, Doc. I don't think, to your point, I get what you're saying, and I would tend to agree with you, but it just felt like the referees didn't give us a chance to
well,
kind of overcome, right? They were taking
well,
those away from us.
I agree with you. I agree with you. And like I said, it was egregious, man. But I would say that if Tyreek catches that pass, right? If he catches that pass, and
Mm-hmm.
now it's 17-17, right? And it's a total different ball game. And I would say that in that situation, it looked like it was a mix up with Waddle and Mostert in the same area and all of that. So does Tua throw that ball if the routes are run right and all of that stuff? And in my mind, as he matures as a quarterback, you just got to eat that. And you know what I'm saying? So I get that the refs did us no favors, and yes, but I guess for me, it's just the fact that with 10-0 and a penalty, and we still could have won that football game with all of that. So
Yeah.
I get it, and I totally agree. I'm just disappointed that I'm to your point, and I think this has been my sentiment. It tells me in that loss that we are a legit, serious football team to deal with all of that, with all of the injuries, with Applewhite and all of that, and still be right there late in the game.
Yeah.
Down the stretch, we're gonna be hard to deal with.
And I agree with that. And I kind of agree with both of you guys. It's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. As a football
Right.
coach, football player, it's like, hey, of course you want opportunities, right? You want the flags thrown when you feel like there's, plays made. Also, you got to also realize sometimes you're going into a hostile environment and you're fighting the referees, and that's just going to be the nature of the game. Like when you're coaching high school football and you go from, hey, Orange County and you go to Broward County to play a playoff game, you ain't getting no favors down there. So you got to understand that. You got to understand that, hey, those referees are not going to be your referees. They're going to be from a nearby county, and they're going to try to get a call to the other team, the home team. So that's just the nature of it. Sometimes you just don't expect it to be so egregious where you get no flags on the other team, but sometimes it happens. Sometimes you got to fight through that. And honestly, like I said, I'd rather us experience that now, right?
Yeah.
Than experience it later in the season where we're in the playoffs. I'd rather us get it out our system now. Hey, we see what happened to the Miami Dolphins. Everybody saw what happened to the Dolphins nationally on national TV. Now, hopefully, moving forward, the NFL is going to be more conscious as to who they put on our games and what's going on, and hopefully that kind of figures itself out, right? But I wanted to address this comment by Nene because I feel like guys, when you put a good comment in the chat or something I want to address, I'm gonna put it up here on the panel and we're gonna talk about it because I feel like these are conversations that need to be had, right? And Nene says part of overcoming is giving injury prone players the bag. Part of the problem with availability. So she's basically saying, hey, is giving these players, these injury prone guys, money, the issue with the Miami Dolphins. So Chris Greer, Mike McDaniel, do you think that these guys are trying to get these bargain guys on good deals and it's costing the team because they're missing a lot of time? Right? I've always been a proponent of, hey, the best ability is availability. And if you're not available for your team, you're hurting your team, right? So when we look at guys like Armstead, Jalen's down right now on a freak injury. Nick Needham's been hurt. Brandon Jones has been hurt. Chubb has been what they consider an injury prone player. I'll start with Lou on this, but is Chris Greer getting bargain deals and hurting the Miami Dolphins in the long run because he's getting these injury prone guys? What's your thoughts on that?
Oh man, it's tough. Like when I look at Jalen Ramsey, he's not really injury prone like that, though. To your point, CB, I think that's a freak injury. Okay,
Right.
you want to look at Armstead. Okay, I get it. But if you look around the league, what left tackles are making, and then look what Terran Armstead is making, I mean, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. I think you got a really
Yeah.
good player at a really good price. You see what I'm saying, CB? When he's on the field, we know what he is. So I get Nene's point, but I would look at a guy like David Long Jr., right? Whether you like him or not, or whether you think he's the right fit or not, I think I seen it today on Twitter or yesterday. I think he's ranked second and as inside linebacker in the past like 4 or 5 weeks. I mean, the kid is playing well, and he was injury concerned. And you look at the deal, you got him. So listen, I think Nene brings up a valid point, but it's for me, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. You know what I'm saying? Like I look at a guy like David Long Jr. I think that's working out for us. But then on the other end, you got Armstead, and obviously right now it's not working out for us. So it just is what it is, man. I think at the end of the day, this is football. Injuries are going to happen. You just hope that some of these deals that Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel are deciding to make, they just work out for us. And that's just where I'm at with it.
I would say if you look at our team and the guys who have been hurt this year, none of them have been injury prone except Terry Armstead, who's hurt. Nick
I
Needham
agree.
he's been with the Dolphins and been healthy most of his career. Connor Williams, who is hurt, hasn't been hurt. He played all 17 games last year. He wasn't hurt. Maybe he missed one game. I want to say he played all 17 games last year. So the guys that we have lost, X has been relatively healthy. He's somebody we drafted, so Chris Greer didn't bring him in. He's been with us, and as he's gotten older, he's experienced some health issues. Right. So when I hear that Chris Greer brings in injured guys, really we're talking about Armstead and we're talking about Mostert and maybe Jeff Wilson, and if you count those three, of the guys that he's brought in, most of it has been healthy all year and has been playing well. So I don't necessarily buy that argument because it hasn't been a plethora of players.
Yeah, and I think I'm in somewhat agreement with the both of you. I think when you're in a GM position, you're trying to look for you're trying to bargain shop. You're trying to get good players at a good price, right? It's like, if I go out to the mall and I'm looking to buy a pair of shoes, I want to get the best pair of shoes at the best price, right? And when you go get guys like Teron Armstead, who had a history of kind of being injury prone, and you get him at a deal, I think you kind of take what you get, right? I mean, you get him at a deal, and he really has never played all 17 games throughout a season. Um, so he is the one guy that is kind of
Right.
shaky in terms of being injury prone for sure. Chubb's been here. He's been fairly healthy. Jalen Phillips, you can say you drafted a guy who kind of has some injury concerns, but I think Jalen Phillips, I don't consider him being injury prone with the Miami Dolphins so far. I think throughout the season, there's going to be guys that get nicked up. And honestly, I think coaches have two different ways of approaching it. I think some coaching staffs are like, hey, guys, we're going to play. If you're hurt, you're going to play, right? If you're injured, you're not going to play, right? I think other coaching staffs will be like, hey, if you're hurt, I'm not going to play you at all. I'm not. And I think Mike McDaniel takes the approach of, hey, if you're hurting, it could lead to a bigger injury. So I'm not going to put you on the field. I think in other organizations, some of these guys are playing with some of these nicks up. But I think Mike McDaniel takes the long game approach in regards to injuries. He'd rather you get healthy right now and then have you later in the season where it counts. And I think that's where Mike McDaniels is right now. I think he's just playing the long game. He's like, I'd rather sit these guys for this Philly game because I know I'm going to need them for an AFC matchup in a couple weeks, because that's more important to us and more important to the team and where we're going to be at the end of the season. So I think if
That's where
these,
I really respect him and Chris Greer and their approach to this
because it's
because
different, Doc, it's different.
it, yes, it very is because, and we talked about this before, and Lewis has been on this since um, the summer. I hate to give him credit, but I have to give credit where credit is due. We are good enough to win 10 games without even thinking about it, right?
I think so. Yeah, I agree.
And so now it becomes, what do you have to do to get the 12 games? Well, part of getting that 12 games is being healthy down the stretch when things matter, right? Because you're going to lose a game here, lose a game there. But when down the stretch, when teams are fighting for their playoff lives,
Mm-hmm.
that's when you really want to be healthy. And you can just see the Dolphins approach it. We're not going to, while the national media is saying this and that, there's no doubt in my mind that they could have pressed Connor Williams into going. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind that they could have,
X
possibly
X
this.
X could have went. He said he
Yes,
could have went,
there's no,
right?
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, but they're playing the long game, and to Lewis' credit again, he said that was going to be the case this year. And as much as I hate to give him credit, I got to give credit where credit is due. I got
Man,
to do it.
man.
Look
Doc,
at that's a
Doc,
beautiful thing.
Doc,
Look at Doc
it,
giving you all that credit, man.
Doc, it seems like it hurts you to say that, man. What's going on with you, Doc?
No, it ain't hurt me to say it. It's the first time I ever said it. That was the problem. I didn't know how to put it together. But
Oh, come
you
on,
know,
man.
I do believe that making those type of decisions to, you know, be tunnel visioned about what we have to do this year. When the fans and everybody is saying you got to win this game, you want to win this game, and it's easy to press Connor Williams and say, let's go because the national media is going to say this, and let's
Yeah,
get X to go because the national media is going to say this, and let's, maybe not put Terran Armstead on the IR and, have him be week to week to get
Yeah.
him ready as quick as we can. Those are all decisions that this football team has made to say we're looking at the big picture. And, you know, when like when you see that, as much as it hurts week in and week out, I think in the long run it's going to serve this football team well.
Yeah, and I think, and that's what kind of it bothers us as fans, right? We see all these guys on the sideline. We're like, damn, if we had him in the game, like it'd be a different outcome. This other guy wouldn't be getting beat like that. So I know as fans, it's tough for us because we want to see the team together as a unit with everybody out there at full strength. We want to see how we look full strength, but we also got to understand that we gotta kind of we got to play it smart. And I think that's what Mike McDaniel is doing, is just playing it smart, because he knows that, hey, if a guy is out there playing hurt, it could lead to a bigger injury and you end up missing a guy for the season, when you really need him down the stretch to be healthy and to be a part of the team and really working towards making the team better. So
And and I
Well,
think
well,
that,
see,
as go ahead, Lou.
go ahead, Lou, and we'll go to Doc.
well, no, I was just gonna say, see, we're talking about injuries, and I think again it's valid. But see, what's more of a concern for me, and not even trying to get off subject, but when I
Hmm.
heard Coach McDaniel, because they asked him about Coach Cam Smith, right, and his answer was, "Well, the Philly game wasn't really the game they they felt comfortable to put him in." And listen, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, I would tend to agree with Coach McDaniel there, but I look at the two games prior to that, right?
Yeah.
Giants, really no weapons. Carolina, rookie quarterback, really no weapons. Why not throw that young man in there, right? And then maybe if you see Eli Apple or Perry Nickerson in the Philly game, maybe if you played Cam Smith and he showed you something that maybe you liked, right? You could have maybe felt more comfortable to play Cam Smith in the Philadelphia game. See, we're always talking about the injuries. I, again, I seen Nene in here. I think Nene had a comment. 75% of the team is hurt. I don't agree with that. Like
Yeah,
it's a
At
yeah.
all.
few. It's a
I think
few
that's a
guys. It's
bit. That's
not
a bit
seventy
much.
five
That's a
percent.
bit.
Right.
I
Like
think Nene, she trolling a little bit. She
She
trying to get you a
always
little
I
riled,
get
exaggerates.
trying to
you.
get you a little riled up, little razzle
I'm
dazzle.
just saying we're always we're
Hey,
always
hey,
talking.
but let me just say this. I'm the only one who can talk about my homegirl, so I don't need y'all
Okay.
talking about her.
Nah,
I'm
Nene.
no,
Nah,
Nene the homie. Nene the
Nene, my
homie.
dog.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
No,
okay,
I'm
but
just saying though.
I gotta set the record straight.
We always talk about the injuries and stuff, right? And the guys that maybe can't be playing. But remember, we do have some healthy guys on the roster, and they're not getting no playing time neither. See, for me, that would be more of a concern. I get
Right,
what Coach is saying about Cam in games like Philadelphia, maybe against Buffalo, and those teams that can present maybe problems for a young man.
right.
But nah, put that kid in. Like again, I'll ask you two guys. New England, we know really they don't possess no threats like that. Would you guys like to see Cam maybe get a little couple reps in the
Yeah,
New
I
England game?
like, honestly, I like to see him get a little burn. I mean, I think every little bit helps, right? If we're playing late in the game and we're up by a couple scores, hey, get him some reps. I think you need to get some film on the kid at this point. You need to see what he can do. You need to analyze what he can do. Um, and then see if you could start putting him in more, into other packages. You want to see that you could trust him, right? So that's really what it comes down to. Like, can he play assignment based football, do what he's supposed to be doing, make the right decisions out on the football field? I think
So,
you only can evaluate that by getting him out there and then seeing the film, evaluating the film with him, and just kind of teaching them and coaching them. I think that's part of it. But go ahead, Doc. What's your thoughts?
so I look at it from the standpoint of Vic Fangio and Mike McDaniel more than likely feel the same way we do about players. You get them on in a situation with New England and Carolina where you feel like they don't have studs at the position
Right.
that's going to ruin him and, stunt his
Ruin his
growth for years.
confidence.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, with that being said, if these are, that tells me that it has to be something else why he's not getting on the field. Because it can't be that he's not ready for New England. That can't be it because he could play with Parker. Hell, anybody. I can probably go out there 53 and play with Parker for a
No
play. You know what I
separation.
mean?
No
That's
separation.
cap. That's cap.
Hey,
so
Doc said he still got it, bro.
I say that to say I don't know what it is, but there must be something going on behind the scenes that'll more than likely come out in a year or so, or maybe an off season, of why he's not getting on the field. Because logic says put him out there against these teams and let us cut his teeth.
Well,
Right.
well, let me ask
So
you this, Doc. Let me ask you this, Doc. And you being a former player, right? You would understand this, or you could probably speak on this more than me. And let's say CB83, even though I know CB83. Well, let me not say no.
Hey,
It's questionable if
you know,
CB83 plays,
you
but
know. Go ahead.
Doc, when I look at Cam, right, he plays the corner position. You look at guys that are in that room, like Xavier Howard. Obviously, he's a leader for us on our team. He's been that for years. And then a guy like Jalen Ramsey. To your point, Doc, if it is something, maybe some outside, not showing up to the building early, maybe missing a couple meetings here and there, do you put that more? Should that be like a Vic Fangio, Sam Madison, Coach McDaniel kind of talking to the young man? Or should that be the leadership in that actual room with guys like Ramsey
Good
and
question.
X?
well, I think it's all of the above, but ultimately, as a player, you have to recognize your trade and your job. And I'm sure that the coaches are telling him, you got to be a professional, you got to be in meetings on time. These are the things. If this is the case, and I want to be clear as we
Yeah, because
talked about
we're
this, if
we're
this is
making
the case, because there
right,
is
right.
Right,
some
right, right.
speculation, there's some speculation out there about this being the case. So I'm saying, if this is the case, you know, these are things that get you fined in the NFL when you're not at practice on time and you're late and you're this
Hmm.
and you're this. And I'm sure those things are all in place. And I'm sure X, you know, who is a wild boy for sure, is saying, hey, yo, young buck, this is what you got to do. And Jalen Ramsey was talking to him on the sideline. So clearly there's at least some healthy respect there because he was engaged in that conversation during the game. But so ultimately, it does come down to Cam. Again, I want to preface this if this is the case, being a professional and taking care of his business. You remember the conversations about Parker, about why he wasn't
Yeah.
successful. He was playing video games and eating McDonald's, and nobody could stop him from doing that. But
Right.
I do think that Cam is an unbelievable talent. And I was really impressed with Jalen Ramsey at the way that he attacked that conversation. I couldn't tell what he was saying, but you could clearly see that he was attacking that conversation on the sideline about what was going on in the game. And that's going to bode well for Cam.
And I think that's why you bring in guys like Jalen Ramsey and the Tyreek Hills and the Teron Armsteads, because those are guys that have the ability to sharpen the room, right? Iron sharpens iron. That's the motto, right? Um, and when you put a guy like Jalen in there, who's a vocal guy, and you pair him with X, and they can have the conversations with Cam, and they can say, hey, Cam, you just aren't doing what you're supposed to do. Like, we need you to be better. And when you're better, we'll go to the coach and we'll vouch for you, right? We'll say, hey, Cam needs an opportunity because he's doing everything right. He's really trying his ass off to get on the field. And I think those guys will fight for them if they see that he's putting in the work and that he's being the professional that he needs to be. But I think everybody is on the same page in regards to Cam. And it's like, hey, you're a rookie. You're gonna have to earn it, and it's gonna take some time. It's not gonna be given to you. And Jalen, I know Jalen saying, hey, you're not gonna play over me, right? Because I'm a vet. I've been there, I've done that, I've done it at a high level. So you're not gonna take my spot when I get back. So you're gonna have to figure out a way to get on the field, and it's not gonna be handed to you. So I think they're having the conversations right now, and it's just trying to get his mind right for playing later in the season. And I think he does get on the field later in the season and become a guy that helps us win games. But I think this is right now, a lot of football is kind of like that fraternity, man. It's kind of like Greek life, where it's like break you down to build you back up, right? You coming out of college,
Mm-hmm.
you're a highly sought after guy, big SEC corner. I think a lot of it when you come in the NFL is like it depends on the system you go into. Some systems are like, hey, we want our guys to play early. Come in, we're gonna give you an opportunity to lose it. You lose it, it's on you. Some other organization are like, bro, you're gonna have to figure it out. And you're going to have to humble yourself, go to work, and do everything right before you touch the field. And I think that's where the Miami Dolphins organization is right now. I think we've gotten to the point where we have good enough players and a good enough organization where we don't just have to put anybody on the field because they're a great talent. And
Well,
I
CB,
think that's where we are.
CB, let me ask you this, and Doc as well. Let's say they're doing what you guys are talking about, right? And let's say we have a week stretch of practice where Cam is doing all the right things, and then come Sunday, he's either not active or he's active, but that he's still not seeing no playing time. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe that kid, being a young man, right, that's not fully matured yet, maybe he takes that as, well, damn, I just put in a good week and they still didn't give me an opportunity. I'm just posing the question. Maybe if you throw him a bone and put him out there, maybe he plays well, make some plays. Could that build up his confidence to say, man, look, they gave me a shot, maybe boost his confidence up that way. And then maybe that kind of sets him going down the right path. Like if he does get into a game and he does put out some good tape, and now you can come to that kid and say, look, man, see, we know you got it on the field. You just got to maybe getting on the field and making plays will get in that kid's head instead of trying to kind of just talk to him in the background and not giving that kid no playing time. I'm just posing the question. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Doc, you want to take it first?
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point by Lou. I think that, providing he continues, again, the Dolphins want him on the field.
Yeah, I
They
think that too.
drafted him. So,
Yeah.
they don't want their guy who they drafted that early on the sideline, particularly when you got Eli Applewhite out there on the field stacking it up, right? So they clearly want that guy on the field. So I think that as he continues to mature, continue to get his situation together, continue to bust his butt every day, he's going to be out there. And I think Mike McDaniels alluded to that today.
Yeah. And I think that's the case. I just don't think the Miami Dolphins, his position coach, his defensive coordinator are in the position to just hand it to him, right? I know we want him out there because we feel like he's talented and because he's a good enough player to man these guys up and to play well and to be athletic and make plays. But I think you're not going to jump vets who've been doing it unless you show that you're really that dude and that you're really locked into the process and bought into trusting the coaching staff. I feel like if he does that and he starts to exude that in the building, I think he'll get his opportunities for sure. I think it's just gonna take some time, and I think over the course
And
of the season, it'll happen. I think it's just a matter of when at this point, right?
well,
That's
and
what,
I would say this. I would say this, and this is an if, and again, this is based on stuff that we've heard in the back channel.
right.
If the case is that this young man is not mature enough yet to handle the NFL lifestyle and the commitment, I would rather the Dolphins hold him accountable now
Oh, exactly.
than to put him out there, because we've seen these guys who become train wrecks, and we know what that looks like. And
Yeah.
so if and again, I don't want to say that this is 100 the case, but if this is the case, I'm glad that the Dolphins are handling it this way, so he can make some decisions early in his career and become a professional and do the things the right way.
And that's a really good point, Doc. Too. And as a teacher, as a coach, I've always had the philosophy that Hey, it's always better to be hard in the beginning. Always. Whether it's early in the semester, whether it's early in the season, you gotta be tough on kids, you gotta be tough on players, tough on guys early, right? Because you can always let up on the back end, but it's hard to let a guy kind of do his thing in the beginning and then try to rein him in on the back end. It's just difficult to do. So I feel
Hey,
like that.
CB, I like that question that you have there. I've been watching that question. That's a
Oh
heck of a
yeah,
question.
yeah, yeah. That's what we're gonna get to next, man. But
Yeah, yeah.
and I've always been that. I've always thought that. So I think that's what their approach is with Cam. Hey, we're gonna be tough on him early, and it'll be easier for us to manage him and make sure he's doing the right thing on the back end once he's locked in to what we're doing. So I just think that's the case, man. But I wanted to get to this question by Mark Jones. Mark Jones says CB83 in panel. Who's most to blame for the number one ranked offense not living up to the rankings? Another flop in a big game, especially against winning teams. Fins up no matter what. So what's your thoughts on this? And I'll start with Lou on this. So another big game. I don't know if I could call it a flop offensively. But what's your thoughts on the offense really kind of not living up to what they've been doing during the season, Lou?
Well, again, you got to understand what Philadelphia presents. That front, well, I don't even want to say front four anymore. That front seven is legit. I know they had
Legit.
some, guys in the secondary coming back from injury, but Darius Slay, he's no slouch. Bradbury, he's no slouch as well.
Yeah.
Listen to me again. See, when I think of flop, I think where the offense didn't show up. I think and again, that's on us. Holding penalties and stuff. But when you have things like that, you're not going to be able to sustain drives. I think what Miami has done such a good job in this season is keeping the chains short. Miami,
Yeah.
whether it's run or pass,
Staying ahead.
right. Instead of being second and 15, right? You're seeing a lot of second and four, second and threes with Miami. And as a play caller for McDaniel, it's easier to call a play on
Much
second and
easier.
three or third and two than second and 15 and third and nine. You see what I'm saying? And it's just,
Right.
again, for me, there were some things I don't want to say that were concerning. You know, I don't want to say the offense didn't play well. I don't think every week we should have the expectation that Miami's going to come out and score 40. Again, for me, look, the two losses we had, I don't think the offense played bad in Buffalo. I just think we ran into a buzzsaw. And again, Philadelphia, certain circumstances happen. You know, drives that I think we were moving the ball. We just had timely, even the touchdown to Tyreek early in the game, a holding penalty. Now you have to settle for three when you just had seven on the board.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about the offense, man. I think the offense has proven enough what we seen last season and what they built on this season. The offense for me is not a problem, man. Again, at least for me, in my opinion. So if people want to think that that's a homer take, then it is what it is. But nah, for me, CB and Doc, I'm sold on Mike McDaniel. I'm sold on Tua, and I'm sold on this offense.
Oh, okay. I like it. What's your thoughts, Doc, on the offense? Are they phonies? What you got? I mean, do they fold versus good teams?
Well, so as much as I say that I don't blame the referees and the losses, I think you got to beat everybody on the field. We had some of those penalties on offense were just, they were killers, man. They were just some killers
Mm-hmm.
that really stopped some drives and really hurt us. I was encouraged, and I know Lewis would. I know he was encouraged by the fact that Mike McDaniel did not abandon the run. He kept trying to stick with it, even in some situations where you kind of figured, hey, let's just go past happy. He kept trying to stick the
Yeah.
run in there. So I'm not worried about the offense. Look, when you play good football teams, again, that game was, you know, close up until the very end when they get a cheap touchdown at the end. You know what I mean? So uh,
Right.
when you play good teams like that, you're not going to have 40 to 45, particularly a team built like the Eagles are with their stout defense. Our offense and no offense is going to run up and down the field on offense defenses like that.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think this is a good place to introduce EM into the fold. EM, what's good? Hey, that's EM Dolphin fan right there.
I don't know that. I don't know. I don't know who that is.
Yeah. Is this a new channel? Is this a new channel? This is the first time I've heard about this channel. Who is this CB83 guy? I'm hearing he's a new guy in the community or whatnot.
We do okay.
But
we do okay.
I hear you.
Man.
That's what's up,
you, man.
You a good
man.
Dude. You pick up nuts and strays off the side of the road and bring them onto your channel. You're a good dude.
Hey, stray birds. I got one.
Hey, but, man, everything is good, bro. Just a long day, man. Just trying to wind down and get my mind right. What's good, gentlemen? Salute, Doc. Salute, man. I don't know who this other I don't know who this other so-called rabid Dolphin fan guy is, but salute. Hey, man.
You know
salute to everybody.
He got about 5 names. It's the real OG Rabbit Dolphin fan.
I can't keep up.
You can't keep up.
And the best name I have is Put 'em to Sleep.
Man, what is good, fellas? Though, for real, man. What's good, gentlemen?
I really wanted to get so we've kind of done our thoughts on the game. What was your thoughts on the game? What's your takeaways, Ian?
Man, well, obviously, the first thing comes to mind is disappointment because we don't, us as fans, we never want to be on the other end of a loss, right?
Right.
But in the midst of that disappointment, though, I think there's some positives that you can take away from the game. Coming into the game, especially considering, and again, I'm going to address the defensive side of the football right now. Coming off the first game against the Chargers, the defense looked lackluster. They looked soft, and I use the term soft after week 1. I will say they did take some strides as the season has gone on, but they seem to hit a pothole in that Buffalo game, right? And I mean, in terms of, hey, Triple S, salute to you, man. Always respect, bro. So it seems to be they hit a pothole with Buffalo, and again, we've all had this conversation privately, Lou, Doc. Physicality is what appeared to be the biggest issue, right? After the Buffalo game, after the Chargers game, and then for stretches during the season. Again, I know they took increment. They got there was some improvement, but it just wasn't consistent enough. I felt like so coming into this game, matching Philadelphia's physicality was a big question mark for me. I wanted to see the Dolphins D line, in particular the front seven, be able to match their physicality. And for me, in the midst of a loss, that disappointment, they seemed to check that box for me. I mean, they took major strides forward. The D line, the linebacking core, David Long Jr. to me had his best game as a Miami Dolphin. Oh. He was flying around the field. He was everywhere, right? Reading, diagnosing, hitting anything that moved. And the D line and the front seven collectively played their best game, I felt like, of the season. So that to me, because listen, the offense struggled a bit, and I know that's getting a lot of the headlines right now on ESPN and Fox and all these other, even on YouTube or whatever. There seems to be a lot of concern about offensively. I'm not, I don't have that level of concern because, again, I see a lot of people out here now, they're floating out this narrative that, okay, when you take away Tua's first read and you force him to go through to his second, third stages progression, well, that's it. It seems to be problematic for him, right?
Is that the narrative after this week?
That's what I'm hearing, bro. That's what I'm hearing. I've been listening to a lot. Hey, bro, I've been listening to a lot. Yeah. I've been listening to a lot of So, but my counter to that is this, Doc. You would know this, Lou, as well as CB. Okay, we came into this game offensively vastly undermanned. I guess what Isaiah Wynn played the first quarter, maybe max. Yeah. Well, you were down to three. Depth players. Starting on your offensive line, arguably against the most dominant front in football. So this narrative is being floated around about when you take away Tua's first read, right? And it seems to be a little problematic, him going through his progression to second and third, right? Well, when you take away that first read, well, you need that offensive line to hold up and give your quarterback more time to go to 2, go to 3, go to 4, or whatever, etc. So this narrative that Tua don't have the ability to do that is ridiculous. They're trying to sell it now. It appears to be. But my counter to that is, well, okay, you're down three starters on your O-line against arguably the most dominant front in football, arguably. Well, again, if you have your starters there, if Teron Armstrong is playing, Connor Williams is there, Isaiah Wynn is there, if the starting O-line as a collective is healthy and playing in this game, well, in terms of the one read narrative, I have a major issue with that, because when you take away Tua's first read, or any quarterback's first read for that matter, you need your line to hold up. And I think if our starters would have played, the majority of this game or all of this game, well, then this wouldn't have been as big of an issue like a lot of people are trying to play it out to be. So, but again, to take away a lot of positives, to me, the biggest positive was on the defensive side of the football, that front seven, because if they can improve and kind of, build off this momentum from a run defense standpoint that we saw Sunday, and you add a healthy Xavier Howard somewhere down the road, and you bring a healthy Jalen Ramsey into the fold, this defense again could be starting to take that next step into being the dominant force that a lot of us thought at the beginning of the season, at least on paper, that they had the potential to be.
I thought you were kind of spot on there, which is weird because you're usually not. But
really weird, really weird.
Man, bro.
Hey, I've been telling everybody for about a year. This dude has been spot on. I don't know what.
Hey, he been sounding a lot like me lately, bro.
Yeah, man, I tell you, bro, that hate is real in this community. That hate is real.
That is funny, but man, I think so. I think you're spot on in your take, and I think the offensive line, when Tua is comfortable, you can just tell that he operates differently, right? When he's comfortable and he's feeling like, hey, I got enough time, I know I'm going to have enough time, I got my guys, he operates flawlessly. And I think once you take a couple guys out of there and it speeds up his clock a little bit, it does have him rushing, and it does have him kind of looking to the check down a little bit sooner.
And I gotta be honest.
You said say that again, Doc?
That sounds like Tom Brady and every quarterback in the
NFL. Yeah, that's everybody. Yeah.
Hey, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I know Tua has had a better game in terms of statistics, right? But to me, this might be one of Tua's best games this year, considering what
he was under, the duress he was under, and the pressure he was under. And I think
because this game could have easily gotten out of hand quick, bro. It was shaping up that way.
It could have. And you know what the play that kind of defined the game for me is when they took the shot to Tyreek and he connects on it. Because honestly, like in the past, let's just go back to last year. Last year, the year before that, his first couple of years. Tua wouldn't always take those shots, and the coordinators wouldn't always call those plays for him to take those shots because they didn't feel comfortable in his ability to do it. But Mike McDaniels saw something, he dialed it up. They took the shot, they connected, and it was just the play we needed at that time because it looked like things were bleak. We really weren't hitting on nothing, and we ended up taking a shot and connecting. So that was a great thing to see in that moment, that, hey, even through the adversity of, hey, we're trying to figure out the run game, we're not able to take shots, they're covering us up, it's tough, we were able to take a shot and get them for one. And I think that's what you want to see, is just growth. I think that's growth, right? Especially in a good football, a tight football game like that where it's cutthroat, you fighting for every yard. I think when you see plays like that, you're excited. You're excited about what this kid is becoming.
Well, CB, to your point, CB, right? I don't even think it's so much the touchdown throw to Tyreek. I got two throws specifically, and to your point, going back to last year, maybe even years prior. The throw to Waddle, I believe, in the first quarter to the sideline, right?
Phenomenal.
Right before the safety,
Bro.
right before the safety
Phenomenal.
over the linebacker. Look at where the only place that ball was going to be able to be caught was with Waddle.
Well, yeah,
Look at the
yeah.
third and I
And
think it was 3rd and
and
15 to Cedric Wilson on the sideline. I
and
mean,
that
those
and
throws
that throw real.
specifically, that's throws real quick, Ian, to CB's point. Those are throws that
Big boy.
previously Tua won't, in my opinion, right? And I could be wrong, but in years prior, I don't think Tua makes those throws. And now what you're seeing this season, those are routine throws now for Tua, right? That's what we weren't getting from him year
Yeah.
2, year 3. But now year 4, you get those on a consistent basis. And for me, that's what I'm more impressed with Tua than anything else.
And in particular, that throw to Waddle. Look at where, okay, look at who's in. I mean, he immediately, right? He gets back. It was a 3-step drop, I believe. And immediately he has pressure in his face from Jalen Carter, right? He just absolutely blew up Lester Cotton and loops around and he gets into his face. And it looked like Tua wasn't even looking at, I mean, it's like he
felt him down the field.
Yeah. He didn't have time. He didn't have time to see the route develop. So I know he didn't have time to see the complete route develop. So again, he's throwing to a spot, right? Spot throwing. That is it. That's exactly what that is, right? That's what all quarterback.
You a spot thrower now? I just want to make sure.
This is the reason why all quarter. See, that's a perfect illustration.
It was killing Tua on Twitter today. I heard some guys really giving it to him, talking about spot
about
like that.
Bro, ridiculous. See, that is a perfect illustration as to why quarterbacks are taught to throw the spots as opposed to throw to the receivers, right? That when Tua releases that ball, first off, he's got immediate pressure in his face. Look at the release point of the football on the ball. Waddle's not even out of his break yet, right? And then on top of that, there must have been somebody ran a wrong route somewhere because there's no way in the world of play design called for 2 players to be in the exact same spot. Right. So again, Tua had to even process that issue immediately. And to put that ball only where he put it, and the only person that could get his hands on the football was that is as good as quarterback play. That's as good as it gets. That is as good as it gets, bro. And we've seen Tua, to kind of piggyback off Lewis's point about Tua, making these throws look routine. We've seen that. I mean, he's made week after week. Every week it seems like you could take about 3 to 4, 5 throws to where you're like, I mean, shit, pardon my language, CB, but it just don't get no better than that throw. You know what I mean?
I agree with you. I think
I've said this. Go ahead, bro.
Go ahead, Doc.
I was just saying that for me and our team, and I think we all said this in the summer, it really is just going to come down to health, man. We
Can
are
he stay healthy? That was it.
And we are a top-heavy football team, and when we start losing 2 and 3 and 4, I'm not sure if this team can overcome that. But if we healthy, we're gonna be hell to deal with come playoff time.
And see, I agree with that, and that's hard for me because guys are gonna get hurt, right? Guys are gonna get injured. But when you got 5 starters out, 6 starters out, this team is not gonna beat the best teams in the league, bro. It's just not. And
CB, they're not. I agree. They're not. These people that are being so critical of Miami label them as frauds and saying that they can't beat the upper tier. They're not taking that into consideration, bro. Look at the Pro Bowls that the Dolphins have sitting on the bench between Teron Armstead, now Jalen Ramsey. I mean, Connor Williams. He gonna be in the Pro Bowl this year, right? Yeah, I mean, bro, come on, man. It's ridiculous. It's extremely frustrating to hear the critique, and again, they're not factoring everything. They're just going off, take things, it's just lazy takes, bro.
It is lazy takes, and you got to put it in the context, right? People will call the context excuses, right? But when I look back at that game and I say, hey, we didn't have 4 starters. We had one of our starters go out during the game on the offensive line. It's going to be tough. It's going to be an uphill battle, right? If the offensive line is healthy, and I think the run game is much more efficient, much more effective, and we have a better offensive performance, hands down, right? I think if Teron Armstead, Connor Williams, Isaiah Wynn are all in there, it's a different outcome. I think we run the ball a lot better than the way we ran the ball on Sunday night. So I'm taking that into consideration. But I wanted to answer this question from Nene. She says, so what is the true goal of this team based on what you see? Not Homer mindset. Where are we? Super Bowl contender, playoffs, middle of the road, serious question. And I'll start with EM since you just came on. EM, what's your thoughts? What type of football team are we? Where should we be?
If we're healthy, right? If we're to piggyback off Doc's point that he made, if we're healthy, this is a Super Bowl caliber team. Period. I mean, again, you see the defense taking strides. We know the players that we have coming back, right? We just talked about the Pro Bowls that we got sitting on the bench. The O-line has been spotty. It's been, in terms of the lineup, the starting lineup has been inconsistent due to injury. We know that. Mm-hmm. But if Waddle is healthy, if we're going into the playoffs and this team is healthy as it can possibly be, they're going to be nobody wants to face the Dolphins, bro. That's a fact. That is just reality. Like, even now with all of the injuries that we had in players that we don't have on the field, man, it's very few teams that actually, when you see that specific team on your schedule and you evaluate the personnel and you evaluate your personnel and kind of contemplate on how we're going to match up with the Dolphins' speed offensively. I mean, bro, that is what keeps defensive coordinators up at night. And it's no other team in the league that's equipped speed-wise, right, like the Dolphins. And again, it goes back to health. Health is paramount with this team because if we're healthy, bro, it's a Super Bowl caliber team, period, in my opinion.
I mean, that's a good take. Lou, what's your thoughts on it? Are we Super Bowl contenders? Are we middle of the pack? Let's talk about if we aren't healthy. Like, what's not healthy? Is a couple players not healthy or what? Like, what's your thoughts, Lou?
Well, for me, I'm going to be honest. There's one player for me that we can't lose, and that's Tua. If Tua's not there, I don't care if everybody else is healthy, right? Like, the season is over without Uno. I would say that, but I'm gonna go with EM, and this is no homer take. I believe we're a Super Bowl team. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. I completely agree with EM. Nobody wants to play this team. Like, we had a lot of Dolphin fans that went out to Philadelphia. Shout out to Dolphin Winners. He even lives out in Philly, and he was telling us all week, even the chatter out there on Philly's news or the radio stations and everybody talking, they were scared of Miami coming in there, and they knew there was possible. Terran Armstead wasn't playing. Possible Connor Williams wasn't going to play. Ramsey, they knew wasn't going to be back. And they were still afraid of what this team possesses. So I'm with EM. I think everybody knows we're playoff contenders, right? To get into the playoffs, compete for the division and stuff. I think everybody believes that. I'm going to go with EM, though, and, it hurts my heart to my soul to agree with EM Dolphin fans. But nah, bro, I truly believe that we are Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah, good, valid points. Doc, what's your thoughts, man?
Well, I would take the approach that right now we are a playoff team for sure. When you have as many players out and there's some question marks around the health of our football team, you got to take that into consideration. Now, to everybody's point, if Terran Armstead and Connor Williams and X and A-Chain
I forgot Jalen, about A-Chain. Golly.
I know, bro. Me too. I forgot. Me too, bro. Wow. Wow.
If those guys are there in January, nobody wants to see the Dolphins. They don't. And I think that the things that we're doing right now, I think EM stated it, and I think everybody on the panel agrees that you can learn something in a loss about yourself. And you go back and look at that tape and you say, you know what, we were right in there in a hostile environment. And with the refs beating us 10-0, and in the fourth quarter we were right there.
Yeah.
That's something that you can grab hold to come December and January and learn from. So, yeah, you can't negate the health factor because it is very, very huge on our team. But if we healthy, we Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with all your takes. I think healthy, we're a good football team. We're hard to beat. I think we're very hard to beat healthy. And I think this team learned a lot from where they were last year, right? So we kind of squeak into the playoffs and you play Buffalo tight down the stretch without your starting quarterback, without guys you needed. And I think they realized that, hey, if we were healthy last year when we needed to be healthy, we would have made a run at it last year, right?
And
Because
you
it
know, and you know, CB, I think that's why the Dolphins are so conservative with their approach
exactly,
this year as to
exactly,
bringing, like, kind of prematurely bringing players back. Right, they're letting them get all the rest they possibly can get
yeah.
because the focus is on January and February, hopefully February.
Yeah, yeah, because you see it. I mean, you saw last year. Last year, if we were full strength going down the stretch and going into the playoffs, bro, we would have been a contender last year. This team was good enough last year to go win a couple playoff games and make a run at the Super Bowl.
I
Whether
agree.
you got whether you guys think so or not, right? I know there's going to be some people with some pushback, but shit, we were good enough last year. And if Tua is playing late in the season and we're in our groove and we're just getting into a rhythm going into the playoffs, you're not telling me that we don't go challenge Buffalo. You're not telling me we can't go beat Cincinnati because we ran with them too. And you telling me we can't take on KC. I mean, there's just football has too much parity not for you to believe that this team probably could have made a run last year with the same team they had. So it's a blessing and a curse, but it's also telling because now we have that experience under our belt and we know what it feels like to go into the playoffs and lose. And now that you get to use that, you get to channel that, and you get to go do it this year.
CB, I didn't hear your take. What did you think of the defense overall and the adjustments we were able to make?
I think the defense is slowly but surely getting better. I think they're getting to the point where this team could be playing like a top 10 unit at the end of the season. They could be playing top 5 unit at the end of the season. I think they're just missing some key pieces. Like you're missing Jalen Ramsey, you're missing X, you're missing a guy like Needham, where you can kind of interchange and spill some guys like Cater and spill Eli every now and then. I think they're just missing that versatility. And I think if there's one thing I want for this defense is another solid linebacker. That's the only thing I really want for the defense because I know we're getting some secondary guys back. But
I don't know. Hey, you might be getting your wish. I don't know, man.
really,
You know, maybe.
Oh,
you
you
hear
dropping
some,
some
No,
nuggets?
no,
but
no, I'm not.
you got
No,
tosses.
no, I'm not.
Hey,
I'm not.
You
I'm not in
dropping
the.
some nuggets? What's going on here?
I,
EM sauce, EM
hey,
sausage.
listen. I'm not in the business of dropping news and breaking news and all of that. I leave that to other people in the community. I'm just saying, there's been some chatter right in these streets that that Chris Greer is working them phone lines, and I'll leave it at that.
Ooh, ooh. And I mean, this defense is solid. I think people were killing Fangio at first, but I still think Fangio has to find a way to kind of take away the best player on the field. He's got to find a way. If we going against Buffalo, you got to find a way to take away Diggs. Like keep him from killing us. Like if you shut Diggs down, they're going to have a long day. So I think that's something I still want to see, but I think the defense is slowly getting to the point where they're going to be that unit to be reckoned with.
But you know, CB, in terms of the defense, and I've been consistent about this all year. Fangio can't get into those type of coverages, right? Unless you're minimizing and really suffocating the run on first and second down and forcing teams in consistent third and long situations, right? So again, that's why for me, the most important issue. Now, it was, early on, yeah, we all know it's a new scheme. These players are learning how, how Vic Fangio teaches and his principles, etc. But at the end of the day, bro, the run defense was the most important thing. And to me, that's why I'm so positive,
Yeah. It's
moving
cranked up.
forward.
It's cranked up.
Bro, if they can get back to that consistency that we saw last year, right? I'm telling you, man, this defense is going to be elite. And you combine that offensively, what we know we know they bring, that they're bringing. This again, to everybody's point, this team is going to be a tough out, man, by anybody's standards.
Man, David Long got to be healthy for us. Like, if he's not
I would
healthy,
agree.
like, we're gonna struggle. And that's kind of where I'm at with it. It's like David Long's that only piece in the middle that's really shooting gaps, making plays in the run game. But we're gonna have to figure it out, bro. I think he's in protocol this week. Hopefully he plays on Sunday. I mean,
I thought he was good to go for Sunday.
Yeah, CB, he cleared today.
Oh,
I
okay.
guess
Did he clear
they
today?
did a test. Yeah, they say he's gonna be back at practice tomorrow. So.
Cool.
Okay.
That'll work.
What about Holland? Is he cleared or no?
I think he's the
Holland-
one that's in. I think he's in protocol.
Yeah, Holland is in protocol still. Yep.
I got you.
And with that being said, what did you think about the back end, the two safeties in that game?
I mean, I'll start with Ian. What's your thoughts? I mean, honestly, I thought that just real quick, I thought they were okay. I think they kept everything in front of them for the most part. But there were still some plays where, like, the corners were by themselves on islands and there was no safety help, and I was like, damn, like, why is he by himself and not able to make a play? So I don't know. It's tough. I don't know what type of position he was putting them in, but the safeties kept them in front of them for the most part.
Well, I think. I'm sorry, my bad, Doc. Go ahead, bro.
It just sure seemed to me that we were playing a lot more man than was advertised. Because I saw Eli Apple and them boys in chase mode all night long. You know what I mean? Which was interesting to me. I thought we would have played a little bit more zone, maybe cover 2 to put pressure on them. Because Eli Apple is horrible when he got to play off. And obviously, Cater, I thought, did all right, but still, he's not a corner. He's a slot guy. So I thought we would have tried to go to something to protect them a little bit more, and I didn't think we did that.
I mean, for the most part, though, I thought the safeties were fine. Again, to see when you're evaluating safety play for me, right? How they were in run support, and also did they minimize the potential of a big play? And I think they did both of those things, right? When they were very good in run support. There was only one play, and again, I think it was just a perfect throw by Jalen Hurts, that big play in the fourth quarter where he threw to AJ Brown. Holland was right in position. Right, he was in Cater. Really, to be honest with you, the coverage was phenomenal. He was in his back pocket. That was just an unbelievable throw that Jalen Hurts made. And again, I know he made the play, and we're disappointed he made that play. But that's the position. If you're a coordinator, you're a defensive coordinator, you want to force quarterbacks consistently into to make those big boy, tight window, high level type of throws. And you just got to, if they beat you, they beat you. But that is the position you want to consistently put quarterbacks in. And in this particular instance, he just made the better play. And you just got to, tip your hat to him and keep it moving. But for the most part, overall, I thought they were fine.
Yeah, and I think if your corners are better, I think if you have X and you have Jalen on the field, I don't think that happens. I think you're in a much better position to make the play on the ball than, let it come down. So
I agree.
So I look at that like later in the season when we do have our guys, we won't have stuff like that happen because we'll have, our unit in there. So hopefully that's the case.
And for me, I think what the defense did for me on Sunday night, to Doc's point, I did see a little bit more man. But I think what Fangio's starting to learn, especially we all know, he don't have his guys yet in to run his scheme that he wants to run on a consistent basis. He's marrying this Brian Flores Josh Boyer kind of, look at the interception that Jerome Baker got, blitzing Cater off the edge. Look at David Long. I know there was, he got kind of clotheslined, but blitzing David Long Jr. up the middle early in the game. I look at that, and this comment, I guess it's more for Doc. Just imagine if X is out there and Jalen Ramsey's out there. And see, I like the playing a little bit more man and implementing again until you get your guys that can fit the scheme. Jerome Baker, we know he might have problems in coverage, or he might give him. I think Fangio's starting to understand. Yeah, Baker might have problems doing this, but I can get him to do this, and this is what he does well. And I think he's marrying this defense, kind of combining his scheme with previous schemes. And it's funny to me. This is the most I think I've seen in the game. We were blitzing or just
we were sending that shit.
Different looks.
Yeah.
And CB, you see what I'm saying? This game specifically is the best performance the defense had. To Ian's point, especially to hold the Philadelphia Eagles, which I believe is second in the league behind us in rushing, to 99 yards with the stable of running backs they got, plus what Jalen Hurts presents from the run game, to hold them to 99. I just think, to Ian's point, to CB's point, and Doc's point, everybody's point, I think this defense is coming together. And I think adding guys like Nick Needham coming back, Ramsey and stuff, is only going to enhance that. So, again, CB, like I said earlier, if you're not encouraged moving forward with this Dolphin team, find the nearest bridge in your city and jump off. Because, this team is legit.
But and that's the thing too. First year as a coordinator in your first year, you're trying to figure out what works, right? Because you don't know what works. You don't know what these guys can do and what they can and can't do. So even Mike McDaniel in his first year, it's a lot of tests. It's a lot of trials, like trying to figure out, hey, what works for my guys, what doesn't work. I think Fangio did a lot of that, and he's working on a lot of that. As we could see, he's figuring out, hey, these guys can play. They can blitz a little better than I thought we could, and I think he's starting to implement that more into what he's doing. In order
CB, I know foundationally what Vic Fangio's, what he likes to do, right? Schematically,
and that's the perception of what he is, right?
Right, but at the end of the day, when they asked him about philosophically what are his preferences, right? He said he didn't say he don't like to blitz. He said I just like to blitz when I want to blitz, not because we have to.
Yeah,
I don't listen. No coordinator. It could be Dick LeBeau. It could be Vic Fangio. It could be Bill Belichick, etc. All the greats. No coordinator lines up snap by snap and runs one specific type of defense, bro. No. They all mix and match. They all borrow from each other. This is a copycat league. So yeah, sure, the tendencies are different. Fangio might like to blitz. His zone pressure ratio might be, 70 zone, 30 pressure compared to it being flip-flopped. Bill Belichick being 70 pressure, 30 zone, right? The tendencies of which they do things are different. But for the most part, for these, I hear a lot of people's takes on, they're so surprised on the amount of pressure, that the fact that Vic Fangio is, here recently, he's starting to bring a lot more pressure in terms of additional. Bro, this is standard operating procedure for any coordinator. We shouldn't be surprised. He is now in terms of field, figuring out what players do best and put them more consistently in those positions to succeed. I get that. But there's a lot of people out here, there's a lot of people out here that are, trying to sell narratives that Fangio does not, like he don't send pressure, anytime. I'm like, bro, I don't know where that narrative comes from. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. And I think that's a misconception in the Dolphins community, is that Fangio doesn't like to blitz. I'm sure if he has the personnel to do it, he would do it all day. If he could blitz and feel comfortable with what's behind him and what's covering, because I think that's what defensive coordinators want to do. They want to blitz and feel comfortable with that. Hey, even if you get the ball off, my guys are going to be able to make a play.
Well, the thing with
and get a stop.
Fangio is he want to dictate rather than dictated to. He don't want to be forced in a situation where I have to blitz because when you get into that, you're taking a lot of chances. So uh, that was what he said when he talked about it was I want to dictate what we do and not be forced to do things.
Right.
And now
Right.
I think he's doing a great job of just mixing it up. To your point.
And I thought this was one of his. I think this was his best call game to me too. I thought he called it well.
I would agree.
I thought he
I would
blitzed.
agree too.
I thought he blitzed
I would
when he
agree
needed
too.
to blitz and sent pressure when he needed to send it, and it kind of worked in our favor. And I mean, you look at a guy like Jerome Baker. I don't like Jerome Baker being on the field, but Sunday night he looked like he belonged somewhat, and that's not usually the case. So I'm kind of happy with how the defense performed. David Long was fantastic. The D line made plays. Chubb was getting pressure. Phillips was getting pressure. So it was a good thing to see, especially against that's a good old line. Like that's one of the best.
Arguably the best in football.
Yeah, that's a
you know, a case can be made for that.
So I mean, it's good to see them guys crank up on Sunday night versus a unit like that. I think that's going to give them some confidence going into the rest of the season too, that they can kind of play with anybody, bro. That's what it's about.
So CB, real quick to the panel, to everybody, the reports are coming out. I know y'all saw it today that there's a real possibility of Jalen Ramsey. I don't know if y'all kind of touched on this earlier before I got up here, but the reports are out and they've been consistent today that Jalen is a strong possibility that Jalen Ramsey, you know, he might make his Dolphin regular season debut on Sunday.
I'm excited.
What is everybody thoughts about that one?
For me, EM, we had a conversation the other night. Hey, CB, I know you ain't gonna like this one. We've been good on this.
Come on now, we don't have bubble boys. We don't have bubble boys.
And I get it, CB. But remember when we were touching, and EM, you weren't here for this, but we started talking about Cam Smith a little bit. In my opinion, and again, this is just my opinion, I don't believe you, even if he's ready, I don't believe you need Jalen Ramsey against the New England Patriots. And again, let me preface, all game, like being a starter and stuff.
Oh,
you want to give him a couple reps here and there, I get it. I would much rather see a guy like Cam Smith get reps like this because I think, CB, you were talking about, I forgot what topic we were talking about, but you brought it up. You would like to see certain matchups, or when you were talking about, let's say, X or Ramsey on Stephon Diggs. Next week against Kansas City, I would love to see the matchup between Jalen Ramsey and Travis Kelce, right? I think that's where I would bring him back. And again, I don't want Jalen Ramsey's first reps to be KC put him out there. But so give him some reps in New England. But no, listen, to EM's question specifically, no, I don't want – I think you can get by a game going against New England. We don't – listen, their threats are Mike Gesicki, Devontae Parkers of the world. They got some talent, but I don't think anything that poses a real threat to the Miami Dolphins. In my opinion, I would kind of slow play Jalen Ramsey. To your point, CB, I'm not saying bubble wrap him. I'm not saying not give him no reps. But no, I don't think you need to have Ramsey out there, let's say, playing 35, 40, 45 snaps against the New England Patriots. I kind of, you know, we've seen so far this season, Mike McDaniel and this organization, they've held out guys like Connor Williams. They held out Jalen Phillips. And I know the competitor that Jalen Ramsey is. I know he wants to be out there with his guys and help his defense. But no, I kind of slow play him a little bit. I don't know how y'all guys feel. That's just my initial thoughts on it.
I'm gonna let Doc go. Doc, what's your thoughts? And then I'll go after you. Doc, you there?
Nah, Doc went to sleep.
Ian, go ahead. You got thoughts on it, or?
Yeah, bro. Well, you know, it's really, really hurt. It pains me to really agree with this rabid Dolphin guy, but
that's Cap.
Hey, but at the end of the day, I gotta agree 100% with Lou on this one. Again, I think, and again, you shouldn't be in a position where you're taking any team on any given Sunday lightly, right? But I do like our chances from a matchup standpoint with the Patriots, even without Xavier Howard as well as Jalen Ramsey. So again, my approach to him would be if he's healthy enough that he can start a game, he can be in the starting lineup, I would give him some reps on Sunday, but it would be, maybe 5 to 10 max, right? To just get him reacclimated to the game speed. And that way next week, if you bring him back against Kansas City, that's not, he's already got a taste of, live bullets. You know what I'm saying? So that would be my approach if I'm Mike McDaniel and the staff in terms of, bringing him back and trying to integrate him back into the defense.
And that's me too. I mean, Jalen, I think Jalen is a tremendous athlete. I don't think Jalen was as hurt as people thought he was, to be completely honest with you. I think Jalen probably could have played a little bit sooner than coming back this week. But I think Mike McDaniel has, said, hey, this is the timeline. We're going to stick to it. You gotta be patient, right? And I think Jalen's the type of athlete that knows his body and knows what he can and can't do. So I think he's definitely going to be, if he comes back this week, he should be on a pitch count. Maybe he gets 10 to 15, 20 plays, maybe where he's not doing much, just getting into a rhythm of getting in his back pedal, making the adjustment, making the cuts, and then going to make a play. So I think it'll happen. And I want to see him get reps this week. The last thing I want to do is send him go across the pond over to Germany and then ask him to come out and play tough right out the gate. I want to get him some football reps, get his body adjusted to being in the game and game speed. And hopefully we see him. Hopefully we see him sooner than later, because I think he's a tremendous athlete and he's going to help this team. I think he's going to put us over the hump defensively with his versatility and coming up and playing the run and playing in the pass game and just being a great ball hawk. I think he really gives us an opportunity to kill it this year. And we need players like him down the stretch to really go after this home field advantage and try to make a push, man. It's about trying to make a push.
And you can imagine the juice that just the players are going to get with him being on the field now. Can you imagine that man coming out that tunnel, bro, Sunday if they choose to, put him out on the field? I mean, that is going to be absolutely electric. And again, but I do, to kind of reiterate, I do believe that slow playing him is the best approach. But who knows, man? He might be feeling his best version of himself, according to all indications. He says he feels absolutely phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
We'll see. But yeah, I think the overall impact that Jalen Ramsey is going to bring to this defense cannot be measured, bro. It can't be.
It's unmeasurable, bro. And we haven't seen him out there yet. And I can only imagine when we do see him. Just imagine you have him and then you have Cam Smith playing well. You bring Cam Smith along. You still have Javon Holland. You still have Deshaun Elliott. You still got Kader Kohu. You got X. X is back healthy. And then you still got
coming back.
Bro, come on, bro. Like, this defense is going to be something to reckon with if they could just figure it out and figure it out sooner than later. Because it's got to happen quick.
I would say this. I flip-flopped like EM about 5 times in the last 2 minutes of what we should do.
God,
so EM flip-flopping, Doc?
Damn. What you saying? What you saying?
I'm just saying that, I on the one hand,
you's a hoe for that, but go ahead.
On the one hand, I take this New England game very, very serious. When you come off this game that we just played, the hard-fought game and all of that, and New England is a tough out. I don't care what their record says, and we got to take them very, very serious. We got to take them very, very serious. And in my mind, if that's the case, then we got to put our best players on the field that's healthy and go take care of business, right?
Yeah.
On the other side of that, you don't want to rush a player like that and have a setback. So,
I agree with you in terms of that. Yeah, that's true too. I mean, I can't even be mad at that, Doc. We don't want setbacks, right? But I feel like football is football too. It's like you could get out there anytime. You can get out there 3 games from now and have a setback, or you can get out there right now and have a setback. It's like it's kind of like, I mean, it is that's the nature of the game. It's like
The nature of the game.
injuries happen. You ain't no telling when it's gonna happen, and it ain't no telling on what cut it's gonna happen. But is you got to get out there to play. You can't be scared, and I think that's where Jalen is. I think Jalen's ready to go. When I see him making them cuts pregame and the way he's moving, he looks healthy, bro. He looks good. He looks good. He looks like his size and his stature, bro.
And you could tell.
I don't think we realize just how good Jalen is. And I think
no.
People are
some of us do.
People are on this Dolphins defense when Jalen gets back, bro.
Man, no, Jalen Ramsey he's been for a long time at the top of his game, and he's that guy, bro. And when you have players like that, in particular on the boundaries like that, that just opens the playbook up for Vic Fangio. Like some plays that he was a little apprehensive about calling, indecisive about calling because of he necessarily didn't trust what he had available to him on a boundary. You bring back Jalen Ramsey, you bring back a healthy Xavier Howard. The playbook is endless. I mean, if I was Vic Fangio, if I'm Vic Fangio, and once those two players are healthy and on the field together, bro, the level of aggression that the opposition is fake, they're gonna think it's the second coming of Brian. They'll be like, is that Brian Flores coaching this defense?
Bro.
Or what?
It's gonna be
real.
Because you can send that pressure and feel good about it, right?
EM, I'm glad you said that. Real quick, did anyone catch what happened last night up in Minnesota? Did anybody see the way that defense was going around?
Man, he had him on point. He had him on point last night, bro.
Hey, Brock,
he had him on point.
Brock, I see Ghost Purdy.
You hear that?
Brock, I see Ghost Purdy was out there playing.
No, bro. They was laying that wood last night, bro.
Yeah,
bro. He had them boys on point last night. They just beat him up. They just beat him up. They beat him up, lad. They were the more physical team.
That physicality.
Yeah. And
so you don't say that about a San Fran team.
I know that, and that's a very good point, Doc, because that's what shocked. I was telling my brother, I was like, bro, this is the first time in recent memory that I've seen a Kyle Shanahan led, at least the last 3 years, a team just go in there and just beat up the 49. Generally, they're the more physical team on both sides of the football. Yeah. And to see Minnesota match and exceed that physicality, bro, that's my biggest take from that game. I was like, I see you, Flo. I see you.
I like Minnesota's head coach too, bro. I like him as a coach, bro. I think he's solid. I think he's a solid coach.
Well, remember, this is the second time, in 4 years that Brian Flores has. Remember, he was the head coach of Miami when we went into San Fran and laid that wood on him. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick was our quarterback. So it was shocking because, Minnesota hasn't looked that good. And again, playing that night, I don't really trust Kirk Cousins. But to me, give Kirk his credit. I'm not saying he didn't play well. But for me, to EM's point and Doc's point, just the physicality that Minnesota played with, it just reminded me, again, listen.
Nene Antenna went up. Nene Antenna went up when she heard that Flores, boy.
But with that being said, not to take, but Kirk Cousins was phenomenal last night, bro. He was absolutely phenomenal last night.
But that's what Kirk does sometimes, bro. He's like Ryan Fitzpatrick, bro. He's the gift and the curse, bro. He could either be that dude or he could just not be it. But he showed up last night. He was putting it to them boys. Hey, and Addison, oh my gosh, bro, where did he come from?
Look good.
He looked like the second coming of Justin Jefferson out there, bro.
Mm-hmm.
They got two really good young receivers, bro. That's a good.
We shouldn't lose sight of the fact that that's the playoff team. Minnesota was the playoff team last year. Now, a lot of people didn't take them serious, and they thought it was more flukish than anything else. But they got talent on that. Again, last year was just their biggest issues were on the defensive side of the football, and it looks like Flo has that defense trending in the right direction. So, hey, salute to that man.
Yeah. Salute to
Say it
Flores,
one more
man.
time for CB to hear. I don't think
Salute to
CB heard you again.
Flores. Salute to Flores. He had his guys
Oh,
ready
okay.
to play
All
last.
right.
Yeah. Long as we don't, he ain't matched up against the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Hey, man. I listen.
Wish him the
All of
best.
that.
Wish him the best.
Yeah, exactly, bro. I don't have I harbor no ill will towards Brian Flores. I know a lot of people. That's a sensitive topic in our community. But at the end of the day, that was a marriage that was destined to fail for whatever reasons. And me personally, in my personal life, how I move in the world, I don't get involved in other people's marriages, bro, and divorces and all of that. I have no opinion. So it is what it is.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I wish Flores nothing but the best, bro. And because honestly, as fans, we shouldn't even be bitter about that shit. We should move on and go. Hey, wish Brian Flores the best. We in a better situation right now.
Exactly, it's a win-win for all parties. Yeah, exactly. It's a win-win for all parties, bro. You can't ask for anything more than that.
Yeah.
Well,
let me ask this. Go ahead.
You should have heard CB earlier, and I think CB said something he didn't even realize he was saying. And now that we're talking about this, just real quick, shout out to CB, right? Because CB said early, we were talking about Cam Smith, and we were talking about why he hasn't got on the field, and certain things people, maybe all of us have heard rumors about, right? And Doc and CB were making the point EM about, the coaches maybe are being a little bit harder on Cam, right? Like putting a little pressure on him. And I think, right, whether we agree with it or not, and I will be the first to admit, being a Brian Flores, I don't want to say apologist, I just like that man. Yeah, I think from his upbringing, where he's coming from, I understand, whether it's right or wrong, it's just what he is, right?
Right.
But
100%.
I do think, we could be fair. He never gave Tua a chance, and that's to his wrongdoing, because you see what Tua is about now. But could we make the argument, now that we're talking about this, and to CB and Doc's point earlier, did what Brian Flores do to Tua make Tua a better player, right? Could that be a case? We always talk about, he was tearing Tua down. But CB made the point, maybe that's what they're doing to Cam Smith, right? Tear him down, right, to make him better in the long end.
Break him down to build him up.
But you know what though?
Brian Flores do that same thing for Tua?
Well,
so this is I'm
gonna just my bad.
That argument is all I'm saying.
I'm gonna address it quickly, right? I feel like there's gotta be a little bit of both, right? So you can break a guy down to build him up, but it's gotta be some good cop, bad cop. And I think we've spoken about this. Like, you can't break him down all the way and not instill any confidence in him. You gotta be juicing him up a little bit while you're 100%.
100%.
Absolutely.
You can't just
you
can't just shit on him. Like, totally, you can't just shit on him. But 1,000%. you can be hard on him and say, hey, it's like me and my son. Like, hey, I'm hard on you. I expect the best from you. I have high expectations for you. But I'm going to be hard on you because that's part of the process. I'm making you a man. I'm building you up to be a man. So that's part of it too. But I've also got to love on him a little bit. I can't just be hard on him all the time.
100%.
And I feel like there wasn't enough loving on Tua. It was just breaking him down, breaking him down.
But see with Flores, I agree. But see with Flores, in my opinion, and again, he was completely wrong with his strategy. Again, there was no love because he never wanted Tua in the first place.
Well,
and see that
can we
to
say
me?
That? Can we say
that? Absolutely. So for me, that is where that is Flores' biggest mistake, and it's more of a reflection on his immaturity at that position. First year as a head coach, right? So you got to learn, you got to give and take. And just in life in general, bro, you can't get everything you want 100% of the time. And I don't, I'm not in the front office, and I'm not privy to those meetings and hear him.
You privy to some. You privy to some.
Hey, man, listen.
Hold up, Sauce. Hold up,
hey,
Sauce.
Man,
put your foot on his neck.
Do you know something we don't know?
Listen, man. No. I can confirm this. He never wanted anything to do with Tua Tagovailoa. Now we can debate as to why. Right? I have my own opinion as to why. I just think Tua. I just think because a lot of people thought that according to the rumors that he wanted Herbert, he wanted Jordan Love. You know what? I push back on that narrative. Yeah, he might have. Again, he might have. Expressed that he wanted these other two players. But I think if you think about stylistically, the type of quarterback Tua is, this is what he, sat up under for 20 years going against Brady every single day in practice, bro. So that stylistically, Tua is more similar to Brady than what Herbert and Jordan Love is. So I never bought into the narrative that, he just didn't want Tua based off his style of play. I think Tua was too close to that injury. And I felt like Flores thought that there's no way he's going to ever come back from it, right? Because I've heard,
which is fair. I mean, that's
absolutely
a fair assumption, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
I would say this though, whether Flores wanted to or not, you can debate that.
Okay.
Tua was his guy. The issue is you have to do things for people in the manner that they can receive it. I'll give you an example. Me and my brother, my dad used to beat the brakes off me and my brother, right? It wasn't abuse, but we got that wood, right? Okay. Now, my brother took that wood all day. He was like, it ain't mean nothing to him. He was going to act the fool. My daddy say, I'm going to beat you. He going to meet him in the room. It ain't nothing for him. Me, I was going to do right because I ain't want no parts of that. You know what I'm saying? I say
we know you soft. We know you soft. We knew it. Something we knew this nigga was soft.
Hey, don't kill.
Soft ass nigga. No. Soft ass fool. Listen to this dude. No, you good, dog. Go ahead.
Look, Doc trying to be vulnerable in a vulnerable moment.
No, I ain't
taking advantage of that.
Hey, I'm just
this nigga soft as hell. God damn
it. For me, if my dad said he was gonna get that wood, that's all it took. I was gonna do right. My brother, on the other hand, it ain't that it wasn't nothing for him. He had to wrap his arms around my brother and say, "Come on, bro, are you better than this?" Etc. Etc. And that moved my brother.
Ooh, that's
so
different.
we try to and say, "Well, this is the kind of coach I am. This is the way I do it." Well, if that's the case, then some people are not going to buy into it because discipline is what you do for somebody, not to them, right? And so my thing with Flores is Mike McDaniel is giving Tua what he needs to be successful. You can argue with all you want, but clearly what Mike McDaniel did is working, and what Flores didn't do, it's not working. 100%. It didn't work.
And 100%. And I think
it didn't work.
I think when it comes down to it, though, this is my thing with Flores, right? Even if you don't get the player that you want, it's still your responsibility to coach him up and put him in a position to be successful.
Like that as well.
It don't matter who you get, right? Because you're not going to always get what you want. I think that's life. I think he understood that at that point. Like, you're not always going to get what you want. But when you get what you want, when you get it, you got to just coach it up. Do the best you can. And I think
that's where the
disconnect. That's what it is.
And that's where the immaturity came in, him as being in that position, right? Being an overseer. You know what I mean? It's one, you have to, when you're tasked at being an overseer of a franchise, like a head coach, whatever, bro, you got to take all it's not just coaching the players. You got to take all of that. Every single player 1 through 53 that's on your roster, bro, not only with teaching them your philosophies and how to be successful on the field, but that applies off the field as well. You got to figure, you have to take all of that into account. And I just think Flores, where Mike McDaniel and Flores is different. Mike McDaniel has been under Kyle Shanahan and grandfather Shanahan, Gary Kubiak's of the world, and they have taken a different type of approach to their players as opposed to Brian Flores sitting up under Bill Belichick for 20 years and looking and observing him and seeing how the approach he took with his players. Two totally different contrasting styles.
And I think that's probably the crutch for Flores was being under Belichick that entire time. I think he needed to see a different way. He needed to see a different approach. And I think if he would
I
have
would agree.
saw a different approach prior to coming to Miami, he would have been a much better head coach, and he would have understood how to deal with that situation a little bit better.
That's
And
what.
when I was just gonna say,
Go ahead,
not
Doc.
one Belichick disciple has been successful in the NFL. Not
Yeah, I
one.
mean they're struggling. Josh McDaniels
Right.
is the only one that's
No,
decent.
no. Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien was highly successful in
Bill,
Houston.
Bill Murray. Yeah,
Okay,
but I
yeah,
could
yeah, yeah.
argue.
That's
I could
Uh,
argue.
he
Well,
wasn't
Bill,
highly successful. He had a year. He had
he
a
was
couple
No,
successful.
no. They made he made 3 Pro Bowl appearances.
three playoff appearances.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, playoff. My bad.
playoff
Did I say
appearance.
Pro Bowl? My bad. Playoff. He made the playoffs 3 years. I mean, and
Yeah,
again, and look at now. I
he,
think
did it?
Bill. I think
I,
Bill O'Brien. I
I
think.
think he's
And
different though too. Though, do you feel
what do
like
you
he's
mean
a
by?
little? I feel like he's a little bit different from who was the guy that went to Detroit?
Matt
Matt
Patricia.
Matt
Patricia.
Patricia.
I think he's
Mm-hmm.
different from a Matt Patricia. I think Bill O'Brien's a little bit more of a players coach, and I'm not going to say he's fully all the way there, but I feel like he's a little bit more of a balance between the two.
Well, I think
But that's me.
I think one of the biggest reasons why a lot of those people that have coached under Belichick go to different places and aren't as successful. Yeah, sure. How how they communicate, their communication skills might not be the
Yeah,
best.
it's
But
different.
one thing Bill O'Brien did relative to these other coaches, he got his quarterback situation right. He drafted Deshaun Watson, so
Yeah, and
that
That's
I
has
think
a
he hit it.
lot.
That was the key. That was the key.
Exactly. That has a lot. Again, that totally changed the trajectory of that franchise at that time, right? And again, that gave him, more credibility relative to these other coordinators that went to other places because they never got the quarterback situation solved. They never got
And
that
I
riddle
would,
solved.
and I would just say this, right? And this is what I used to defend about Brian Flores, and I'll still defend until my last breath, basically on this earth. Yeah, it didn't work out the way we wanted to in Miami, but when I think of, okay, Bill O'Brien was a good one, Ian, but Charlie Weiss, I forgot the guy that was Kansas City, a black gentleman. Romeo
Oh,
Crennel and
Romeo
Oh,
Cornell.
okay. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
right. Romeo Crennel, Charlie Weiss, CB83 point with McDaniels now when he was
Well,
in
well,
Denver
well,
and
we well, well,
failed.
we well, we mean
What?
by like when they're head coaches. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
That's
but that's what I'm saying. All those
okay.
guys
Go
they
ahead. Go ahead.
failed. See, in my opinion, Brian Flores again when he was hired to take over as the Miami Dolphins, and when you seen we started dumping players, right? He basically walked into a dumpster fire.
He
In
did.
my opinion, I would say, now again, did he get the offense right? No. Okay, cool. Did he disrespect Tua in certain ways where he didn't believe in him and he never gave the kid a shot? I would say yes to that as well. I've never pushed back on that. But when people try to tell me he was a bad head coach or he never did nothing for Miami, I would say that's incorrect,
oh,
bro.
I
Listen,
disagree with that.
Yeah,
special
yeah.
special teams was on point under Brian Flores, and this defense, you can say what you want. Bro, that first year, winning 5 of your last 7 games, he was doing that with UPS drivers and Walmart workers. You see what I'm saying? Like, no, let's not. That's always been my
And
pushback.
Lewis
He was
and
a success in Miami as well. Like
I agree with
CB,
you.
he was hired when we brought Brian Flores in. Remember that documentary or whatever they did about him, that bio,
Yeah, where
showing
he
where he
was.
grew up at
Yep,
and
yep,
his
yep.
upbringing. You knew what you were getting with Brian Flores, and I'm just saying for what his task was to kind of change the organization, the perception, the toughness that he brought to our team. No, I would say Brian Flores in Miami, it wasn't a total success, but it was a success. You see what I'm saying?
Right, and I agree with you a lot there. I think Brian Flores. I think in order for the Dolphins to be the organization that we are today, we needed that Brian Flores situation to happen. Right. I think everything happens for a reason, and I think that's just life, the way life works. But when you look at Brian Flores and you look at, I think my thing with Brian Flores was like, bro, you're a new head coach. You got to work on building a staff right? And building a staff properly. Bring in guys who can help you and don't see older guys as a threat. Like you brought in Jim Caldwell, right? And the dude was out of here after the first year. I don't know what was going on
Good
behind the
point.
scenes, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what was going on behind the scenes, but it seemed like coaches did not like working with Brian Flores. And that's something that, bothered me because I felt like, these are guys that are going to make you better, make you a better head coach. These are guys who have been head coaches before, who can help you make the right decisions. And I don't know. I mean, EM dropped a bomb on us tonight when he said that Tua did not. Flores did not want no parts of Tua, never wanted no parts of Tua. That's different. Like, and I can
I would agree.
understand why that relationship was the way it was, based on that being the case. But you still got to coach him up, and you still got to put together a staff that's going to be able to help him be successful. And I feel like he just never did that.
And again, to your point about that, other coordinators and assistant coaches from other teams not wanting to come and coach with you.
Warranting.
That is a typical characteristic of any Bill Belichick type of disciple, anybody that's coached under him for any extended period of time. But again, it's immaturity relative to all of them, not just Brian Flores, but Josh McDaniel. Bro, I don't understand why they have that attitude. Like it's kind of a double-edged sword because when you look at Bill Belichick's approach,
it's like a confidence, a swag, like that's almost like I know what the fuck I'm talking about, and you can't tell me what the hell is going on.
And you can't really knock Bill Belichick for that because he was the head coach of the greatest dynasty in all of American sports for the last 20 years. But at the same time, you got to be. You have to have a level of self-awareness yourself and understand that A, you're not Bill Belichick. B, you don't have Tom Brady, right? So you got to be
EM, and this is what I want. So A, you don't have Bill Belichick. I mean, you don't have Tom Brady. B, it took time for him to get
absolutely.
there.
He didn't do that overnight, bro.
It took him years. It took him years of failure. It took Belichick years of failure to get to where he was. Like you aren't going to come in overnight and create that type of atmosphere overnight. It can't happen.
This is why I think I've always said it's
microwave. You can't get it that quick, bro.
Right.
You gotta love on some people while you're tearing it down.
This is what I've always said about Flores. The type of power move that he allegedly was trying to make internally. Bro, you need a lot more than 110 win 10-6 season and a 9-8 season to make that type of power move.
You gonna jump the owner? You gonna jump over the owner, bro? Nah, it ain't happening.
Walking around the building in a white beater and some house shoes. That's what I heard.
With his belt out.
Yeah.
Let me ask this question, getting back to the Dolphins.
All right, let's do it.
What do you need to see? What is it that you need to see moving forward based off the performance Sunday, or did we see what we needed to see?
Nah, I'm gonna say we need to continue to get better. And that was a good performance by the defense. But I want to see us build on top of that. I want to see us continue to create more pressure on the quarterback, continue to make plays in the secondary. I want to see more hands on the football, more plays. And I think the defense played well. I think we just got to keep stacking it, man. Just keep stacking the good days, keep chopping wood, and just keep getting better. And I know in between that, there's going to be some games where, hey, you might get blown up a couple games. But I want to see you bounce back quick and just get back to the drawing board and getting after it. I think the defense is slowly getting better. They got to continue to work at it, man. They got to continue to get better. And I think when you get X back and you get all these other guys back, it's going to take some time to get into a rhythm, but it needs to happen sooner than later, like I said, because we got guys coming back from injuries. They got to be integrated into the mix kind of quickly, bro. We only got about 8 games left. Like that, we almost at the halfway point. So you got to do it kind of quickly. Like you ain't got a lot of time to try to like figure it out at this point. it's like plug and play. Like you got to be able to go. If this the spot we're gonna put you in, you got to be able to go here. And hopefully that's what we see. But go ahead, Ian, and then I'll let Luke go.
Yeah, man. I agree, CB 100%. Health obviously is paramount with this team, with this defense. We need to see, more consistency from that side of the field, from that side of the football. But I think but the health is the concern. The players that we got coming back, that'll assist in a lot of that development that we're expecting moving forward in the second half of the season, right? So that's why health is paramount, but also getting more consistent philosophically, figuring out and really learning the ins and outs of what Fangio's teachings are, his philosophy, etc. If we continue to do that, and I think they will, I think, again, I want to reiterate, Sunday was a big step in a direction for me personally with this defense, because, again, I just felt like a lot of our issues early on that plagued this defense, right, was due to the lack of run support, the lack of consistency in shutting down the opposing team's running game. So I think they took a massive step forward Sunday. If they continue to do that, again, I kind of want to reiterate again, bro, if they do that with the players we got coming back, and also, again, just getting, better acclimated to Vic Fangio's teachings, the sky's the limit. The sky is the limit.
Yeah. I agree. Luke, go ahead, bro.
I'm pretty much on base with everybody, with Doc and EM. Listen, for me, I don't think this team has to prove anything to me anymore. I think the guys we got coming back obviously are going to help. I think Vic is kind of understanding his personnel, what we kind of have, what we do good, what we don't do as well. And I think everything's coming together. Like I told you guys earlier, offensively, I think we are a problem for everybody in this league. So specifically on Sunday, man, just moving forward, not even just this Sunday, just keep stacking good days at practice, keep putting good tape on Sundays, and just get better, man. I think we really have a really, really strong team and possibility to make a strong run here. For me, again, it all comes down to health. And I'm not talking about all these other guys we can name. Yeah, they're important. But as long as – and, man, it's crazy where I was 2 years ago to where I am now. I believe Tua can overcome certain guys not being on the field. I just think he's playing at a high level right now. And – all I need is us just to stay healthy and keep stacking up good days, man. And if that happens, fellas, I think we have a really, really good team on our hands.
Man,
so
I
let
think
me
so
ask
too.
you this.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Doc.
No, let me ask this other question.
And we're gonna wrap it up after this. Go ahead.
Did you see a maturation of Mike McDaniel's play calling and game management, or what did you guys think about that? Because I had some thoughts about that.
That is a very good question, Doc. It's funny you bring that up. If I may step in here.
Go ahead.
Because Sunday, again, in the midst of that disappointment of the loss, right? I kind of talked about how the defense, what I took away from the defense, I felt like they took a step in the right direction. You can apply that same level of, kind of what's word? I'm drawing a blank here. I came away equally as encouraged with Mike McDaniel as a play caller, because in the past, we've seen him easily get away from relying and being consistent and being committed to the run game, right? We've seen that consistent last year. But in this game, especially when they got behind, he still, even though they didn't have, they weren't getting the results that they wanted on the ground early on, in particular in the first half, they were in the negative, I think, going into halftime, I believe, in terms of rushing yards. But that didn't deter his play calling. He still, was sprinkling in the run here. He still was dedicated to it. And then you saw that level of dedication. You saw the results with, in the second half, the third quarter, fourth quarter, where you started to see those running lanes start to open up a little bit, and Mostert started to make plays. So again, you're not happy with the overall results that you got, but in terms of the commitment, even when he was down, right, he still stayed committed to it. That is a major step moving forward. Again, we won't see we won't see those big dividends from that approach until December, January, and hopefully ultimately February. But that's just my opinion.
Good
Well,
point. Good point. Lou, go ahead.
I said it on TFTG. Shout out to those guys. Cap and Color were calling the game. One thing I did notice, and I think McDaniel did kind of adjust to it. I would agree with EM about the running game, but there were, especially in the first half, right? We seen against a team like Philadelphia with that front four, what they present. Hassan Reddick wasn't fooling for. I mean, you can still do motion and stuff. This is not what I'm saying, but some of these no look passes and even some of the play action when Tua, it seems like he's doing a full 360.
Oh, he doing some shit, ain't he?
Right. And again, I love to see it, CB, but against like the Eagles, they weren't falling for it, right? Like Hassan Reddick wasn't going for that. Their number one job was to come after Tua, right? And I said it on the Fins tailgate when they were calling the game. I hopped up there and I said, I would just love McDaniel to put Tua in the shotgun, right? You can still have your motion, but even to your point earlier, CB, on the touchdown pass to Tyreek Hill, shotgun, no nothing, no play action, no nothing. 3-step drop, let it go. 5-step drop, let it go. 7-step drop, let it go. Whatever it is, but against a team like that, I just thought early on in the game, specifically in the first half, I think McDaniel he goes in his bag too much. Sometimes McDaniel tries to outsmart himself. You see what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to do that. Sometimes against a front like you see against Philadelphia, just line up and play football.
Well, see, I think he's in a very difficult position too. And I say he's in a difficult position because I don't think he has the offensive line that could just drop back and pass protect every single time. I think he's got
when healthy. I think they do. I think when healthy, absolutely.
And again, but look, Isaiah Wynn was out of the game. Armstead didn't play. Connor wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
I just think Philadelphia had a main focus. They were telling their pass rushers, their front four specifically. Yeah, they were going to stop our run, but I think their main focus was get to Tua. Even on you noticed during the game, right? They weren't going for none of those motions. They weren't biting on none of the play action. Even on the play action passes, that's why you see now again the offensive line. Yeah, I think if Connor Williams plays, Armstead's out there, Isaiah Wynn doesn't get hurt. Yeah, I think you maybe can get away with it.
But see, Lewis, the only reason why they were so disciplined because they didn't respect the run, bro.
Exactly.
But this is my point. But this is my point about Mike McDaniel. Goes back to my point why I came away very pleased and encouraged moving forward is because he knows he had to stay committed to it. And you saw a few rushing lanes. You saw, them having a little more success on the quote unquote gadget plays, right? Reverses and whatnot in the second half. And that's all predicated on being committed to the run when you start to get a little more successful. So the philosophy is fine as long as you got that production and teams have to account and respect your run game. If you don't have that production, well, that just makes things that much more difficult, but you still cannot completely abandon the run like we saw for the better part of last year that Mike McDaniel, we saw from Mike McDaniel last year.
I think you're missing my point, though. I'm not saying I agree with you. I was very impressed with McDaniel staying consistent with the run. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about more play action where it's all these spins, right? And then
you want to see him just line up and let it go.
At that point, when Philadelphia, because again, going into the game, it just felt like even early, right before we seen that we were having trouble running the ball in the first half, right? It just felt like the Eagles were like, bump that, we're going after Tua. Hassan Reddick wasn't there to stop the run. He was there every play. I'm going after Tua, whether it was play action or not. He didn't give a damn about that running back. He was coming down.
He was phenomenal, bro. He was phenomenal collapsing that edge, bro. They could not get to that C gap with any, at least on that right side, with any level of consistency in the first half, bro. And that to me is what changed the whole trajectory of that game. In the first half,
they were running into him. It wasn't like he was standing contained just containing the outside.
Yeah,
No,
he was. He was setting the edge. What are you talking about,
was,
Lou?
Yeah, he was setting the edge, Ian. But while he was setting the edge, he was still coming downhill. It wasn't like he was setting the edge stationary. Hey, I'm gonna play my assignment. I'm gonna stand here. If the play
he's coming across the line of scrimmage.
He was coming downhill, going after Tua.
Right. But I mean, when you got guys, first of all, their front guys are just good. Like their defensive ends are the ideal defensive ends for what they do, right? And when we're trying to get outside and we can't get outside and they're just too physical with the receiver we bring down in the box or whoever we're trying to get there, it's going to be tough either way. But I think Mike McDaniel is going to always try to keep the defense off balance by running the ball, by doing the trickery, by doing that stuff.
Sets up everything.
Because it sets up the play action. It sets up that play where, hey, Tua could just drop back and let it go, right? So I think there's a method to the madness in a sense.
And then on top of that, with you down like 3 of your starters on the line, bro, if you just said fuck it, we just gonna line up and just, bro, playing right into their hands.
That's the worst for you.
So if there was ever a game to where he had to sprinkle in some, misdirection, and he should have and again, I understand foundationally that's in our playbook DNA, but this, considering you were down 3 starters, well then you should have increased it tenfold, the level of misdirection and gadget plays in this game, because there's no way you could just drop back and line up, considering how undermanned you were, bro. You playing right into the hands of that aggressive front.
Yeah, and that's the difficult part of it, bro. That's the difficult part of it. But man, we're gonna wrap this up, man. Hey, we're gonna start trying to. I don't know if y'all could do this weekly, but I do want to try to do this at least once a week, where we just sit and chop it up.
I don't know. I don't know. My time is valuable. God damn it. My time is extremely valuable, right? And then on top of that, this the first, bro. You new to the community, so welcome to the community, bro. Because
I appreciate it. Thanks for the war.
So welcome to the community, bro.
Appreciate you, bro. Hey, but I want to appreciate the guys coming on, Lewis, Doc, EM, man, it's always a good conversation. It's the necessary conversations in the community, man, and that's what it's about, man. And I always say
absolutely,
this, you need this. We need this out here, man. So
yeah, we'll do. Hey, man, it's always a pleasure, bro. Yeah, we can do this, man. I fuck with all y'all for the most part, but but at the end of the man, it's always a pleasure to sit and engage with y'all and dialogue about the team, man, and hopefully, your subscriber base and everybody that's listening tonight, man, they enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. So,
yeah,
man, shout out.
Great conversation.
Salute to you, man, for having me on, bro. And shout out to everybody in the chat that's always pulling up and showing you support, bro. So,
yeah,
absolutely.
Man, I want to show love to everybody in the community, everybody who came through, punch the like button for me. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody coming through, man. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this thing up. Go ahead.
Put that last comment up from Nene. Don't hide. Put that last comment up. I know you do. Yeah. That one right there.
Cooking what? Cooking what is the question? Cooking what?
Boy can't boil water. Luke can't boil water. Man. What you talking about?
I don't know what Nene on. Goddamn, I'm gonna have to holler at Nene about that. God damn it. Lewis ain't cooking nothing over here.
Love her some Lou, boy. Golly, boy.
Yeah.
I know we're trolling a little bit, but at the end of the day, I told CB that, listen, me and CB have had our run-in, right? Like, no, but I agree, CB. I don't know about Ian. Well, this, Shake Money told me this so-called legend. I don't know about that, but it is what it is.
I heard that silly shit. I heard that silly shit before.
Boy, that hate is real. That hate is real. God damn it.
Legend,
I'm still looking for the credentials from Doc, but CB signed me up.
Don't do Doc like that.
Look,
damn, Doc. Why you doing you like that, Doc? God damn.
It'd be old people, Doc.
It'd be old people, man.
I absolutely love this show. My wife's been calling me inside for the past 45 minutes. She wants to spend a little time. But the conversation was so great. I couldn't
You
leave the pen
already
with
know.
CB. Again, know we had our run-ins, but shout out to you. I appreciate
Hey.
the invite, and we definitely got to do this again because to EM's point, and again, hurts my heart anytime I have to say this, but I agree with him. Anytime I get the opportunity to talk about the Dolphins in a space like this or on a channel like this, it's well deserved and appreciated, man. So CB,
Yes,
shout out
sir.
to you, homie.
Yes, sir. Shout out to you. Shout out to EM. Shout out to Doc, man. I appreciate y'all boys. Hey, great show, great panel. Hey, great
Hey, CB,
conversation.
let me just ask you a quick question. I
Go
was
ahead.
trying to donate to your channel tonight, and I didn't see where I could do that
So what happened was they paused my monetization and I have to reapply in 90 days. So the only thing you can do right now is Cash App, Venmo, or you could become a Patreon member, which I pinned a link to the chat and it'll be in the description also.
shoot me your cash.
Damn, they got you CB for what?
Probably because my shorts, because I was just using some of the game footage from the shorts to like break down. But that's probably why they got me. But it's weird. But I appealed, and then I'm going through the process right now. But I think that's like a rite of passage for YouTube to get your ass up out of there. So,
well, you should just put everything on Patreon. That way you ain't got to worry about that. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm moving to, bro. That's what I'm moving to.
That's
You
what's
already know
up.
what time it is.
Well, shoot me your cash app, man, so I can support the show, bro.
Yeah, bro. I appreciate it.
I'm gonna shoot you my Cash App too, Doc.
Doc got it, man.
Yeah. Hey, man, Doc got it like that. God damn it, Doc. Hey,
Doc, big time, man.
Doc
man.
is a baller. He a baller.
I'm something like a baller.
Hey.
I hear you.
I appreciate y'all boys coming through, man. It's love, man. Always.
Yeah. Salute, gentlemen. Salute. Y'all be safe out there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Shout out to the homies for coming through, man. That was love. Great show. Appreciate everybody coming through. Links for the Patreon, for all of that stuff will be in the description and the chat as well. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Hey, it's Fin Steak with CB83, and your boy is out. See ya.
Came from the bottom, that's foreign. I swear that I'm up for the sun in the morning. Oof, hey, I gotta flex. I need a Nike bag, give me the check. I need the money and power, respect, but I promise I'm repping the O to the dead. Hey, oof, I sold them out of my way. I don't got nothing to say. Now they can't run at my pace. Yeah, they know that we ain't the same. 402, we rep the game. I